14-year-old was murdered. And that was tragic. Then the other tragic thing was a 17-year-old committed the murder. And what that leads me to say is there's two lives that never got started that's gone. I don't know what we're going to have to do to get this straightened out, but ladies and gentlemen, we got to learn to love one another. And we got to do exactly what that scripture said. We got to trust in God. We got to trust in Him. And our thinking won't be like that. Our thinking won't be like that. Oh. It's just like Proverbs when it starts off. It says, my son, do not forget my teaching, and may your heart observe my commandments, because they will add many days and years of life and peace to you. Do not let loyal love, faithfulness leave you. Tie them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. I just had to read that. I'm sorry. I was sitting there looking at it. I had to read that. I want peace. I want peace in this country, and I want people to start loving one another. You can't tell me it can't be done, because I know it can. I remember my granddaddy telling me about how they used to cook a hog. And before they got ready to cook the hog, months before that, he would go around to each house and then pick up slop. And then they would clean and cut the hog up. He'd go back around to them houses and they share with each other. They didn't have much, but what they had was love and looking out for the neighbor. Everybody got some of that meat. Everybody got some of that meat. And everybody got some bacon, everybody got some pork chop, everybody got some of it. We got to get back to that. We'll be right back with Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
Have you ever dreamed of working for a trucking company that had Blue Cross, Blue Shield, had 401k with a 4% match? If so, then you ought to call Wiley Sanders Truck Line, the trucking company that makes dreams come true. I had a dream last night, girl.
What dream?
I dreamed I was driving a truck.
Like that?
Yes, like that.
That's not a dream. That's driving a truck from Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
That's right. That's driving a truck. The company that makes dreams come true. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come drive for the best today.
Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama.
Girls, that is what I want right there.
We can.
Why?
Because we grow like Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
You're right. We've been growing since 1959, and we ain't going nowhere. Blue Cross Blue Shield, hey, we got a $1,000 sign-on bonus. We can get you home, Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Come join us today, right there in Troy, Alabama, Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Have you ever dreamed of working for a trucking company that had Blue Cross, Blue Shield, had 401k with a 4% match? If so, then you ought to call Wiley Sanders Truck Line, the trucking company that makes dreams come true. I had a dream last night, girl.
What dream?
I dreamed I was driving a truck.
Like that?
Yes, like that.
That's not a dream. That's driving a truck from Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
That's right. That's driving a truck. The company that makes dreams come true. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come drive for the best today.
Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama.
Girls, that is what I want right there.
We can.
Why?
Because we grow like Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
You're right. We've been growing since 1959, and we ain't going nowhere. Blue Cross Blue Shield, hey, we got a $1,000 sign-on bonus. We can get you home, Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Come join us today, right there in Troy, Alabama, Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
And we're back with Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Line. I told you earlier when I came on the show that I was so excited because I had one of my great trainers and one of his previous students that's here on the show this morning. And I just want to say good morning to him. What's up, man?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I saw you on your ride the other day. Look, I like that. I like you got it fixed up real nice. And, you know, I take my hat off to Todd because he set all this up. He said, man, he's doing good. I want to bring him on the show and talk about it. Todd is one of the trainers that I tell students when they come in. I told you the same thing. I say, God don't smile on you now. You got one of my top ones. You made some money with him, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Taught you how to make money.
Yes, sir.
You enjoying it?
Yeah.
I hear you been going to Lion Station, Pennsylvania. That's somewhere I want to go. Is it as big as Todd tell me it is? I don't know why. Is it that big?
Yes, sir.
He goes to New York and everywhere. He goes
Yeah.
to Brooklyn everywhere.
So Todd, tell me something. I know you've had a lot of trainees, but every now and then you'll get this one, and you'll just, you know, you can just tell. What'd you see in Nathan that made you just cleave to him like that?
Well, I could tell he came from a good family, number one, and that really matters.
Okay.
And he had a great work ethic, never late. You know, did what he said and said what he did, and so that's all I asked for. You know, and then it's up to me to get him into these circumstances where he can learn. And that's my approach to training is put them in circumstances that I know they're going to see down the road and let them learn from that.
You know, I tell all the trainees, I wake to Thursday morning, and I go in there and I try to say it the same way. So if they see somebody else in a relay, when you do, excuse me, when you do things the same way and it's right, it spreads. And I'll tell them, I said, look, don't be nervous. He's not road testing you to see can you drive a truck. He's road testing you, see can you operate a truck safely.
Right.
My trainer is going to finish teaching you how to drive a truck. And then I break it down like this, and I say, what am I saying? Don't do nothing stupid.
Right.
And because when they get with you, then you're going to, like you just said, you're going to put them in this scenario and all.
Right.
What do you do if a truck is parked there, but you need to get over here? Right. What do you do if they tell you to get on dock 3 and dock 3's got a trailer? Do you put on dock 4? No, you go back in and tell them it's a trailer on dock. Right. Never assume.
No, and that's the thing. You as a trainer, you're running the loads that we have to run, but within that, getting your work done, you pick out circumstances that are gradually more difficult throughout their training period, and then as they get towards the end, you kind of turn the reins over more to them each week. And so, within a 6-week window, most of the time they're prepared and ready to go. And I tell them all, you can learn even more your first week by yourself, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing. Your first week alone, you probably learned as much as you did in 6 weeks with me.
Now, when did you turn, and I'm talking about myself, you're younger than me and probably a lot smaller than I am, but when did you turn the Qualcomm over to them?
They first week.
First week.
Yeah, because they're doing mostly riding, so I let them change even my own, like when I'm driving, I let them change the statuses for me so they get used to just holding it and not be scared to touch it. Because a lot of times they're scared they're going to mess it up, and they have to get over that fear. And the more they handle it, the less they have that fear.
Well, Tom, maybe I need to ride with you because I'm on my 3rd week and I'm still scared. Oh, now I know you're trying to figure out what am I doing, what am I talking about. I decided a couple of months ago that if I'm going to go to schools and talk to students and stuff, I need to be a little more involved in the driving side so I can say, well, I've done that and I've done that. And the Qualcomm, I don't want to tell a man, oh, it's not that hard if I've never tried to do it. I don't want to tell a man to go get his hazmat and I haven't tried to go get mine. So that's lead by example. And when I saw you Saturday, I was tickled to death. Anytime we bring a trainee in there, Dale, Brandy, Ricky, all of us, when that trainee tests out, we as happy as y'all are. Because of the fact it starts at recruiting. And if they don't make it, so it don't matter what the guy did. That one y'all bought in, he didn't make it. we get to know them the best we can. That's why I love to bring trainees in from these local schools, because I got such a reputation with them, and I think I can say this on TV. They will tell me if they see a student, because they know our system. Well, I say this, let me clear it up. They know our system. They know how we work and how we run. If they have somebody in that class that's not a fit for us, they'll say, you don't need to do that. And I respect that. I respect that. But when I hear you talk about a trainee and you think enough of him to take your Monday off to come here and be on the show, I take my hat off to you. Now, you know I was going to ask you more questions I asked him. What would you suggest if a trainer was, say, struggling? What would you suggest? The 3 maybe very important steps that you found that's been good for you. Not saying it'd be good for the next person, but that you would like to share this 3 little really important steps that you would do.
You mean as far as a trainee that's maybe having a hard time?
No, a trainee to just get on your truck. What's the first 3 important steps that you do?
The main thing is really, and this is more from what you guys have done, really let them embrace the handbook that we have, that y'all invest time and money into, culling it down to what's most important for the driver, because it's a tool for them. Everything that we, in my opinion, everything we give to them is a tool to help their job be easier and safer. And so the handbook is really important. The next thing I do with them when they get on the truck is I try to explain to them without overwhelming them that nothing we're doing is really hard. It's just really impress upon them that it's just routine. Yeah. And when you get in a good routine that's efficient and safe, then you don't have to worry about all those other problems as much. I mean, things happen, but if you get in a good routine that's very efficient and very safe, and you don't put yourself in a stressful way, you come out better, and then you start making money on your own. And that's when you mentioned Doug talking about we are career builders.
Career builders.
You know, that's what we are, not really trainers. So,
yeah.
And he's a great example of
that is correct.
Yeah. How old are you, if you don't mind?
23.
23 years old.
23 years old.
Yeah. And he came out of truck driving school and is making more than most people make that went to 4-year college.
Oh, I say this every Monday morning. Truck driving, and I don't talk about another company. I just talk about us. It's the only place you can go to school. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 8 weeks. Come on that job and make $50,000 to $60,000 the first year. In the second year, it's up to you. And I keep talking about your car because I love success. I know that you probably, worked and saved, and that's the kind of car you wanted.
Yes, sir.
And so I got to ask you this. When you got to getting close, did you get anxious?
A little bit.
So did you make you a plan to be able to get it?
Yes, sir.
I love those cars. I love cars. Man, that's why me and Todd get along. We love a car and a motorcycle, and we love to work. Now, going back to the driving, I won't get on that car conversation. I go downhill. But I heard you say being on time. I've heard you, and Dale has heard you say it too. I think one of your tests is, if I got to tell you, he's going to be there at 7 o'clock. The way to get you going looking the other way about him, if he don't be there at 7 o'clock. That's really important, because if he can't start being on time with you, that's going to cause a problem in customer service. That's going to help.
Well, even a step before that, what it tells me is that this person don't care. And it ain't about, I'm going to run the load and whatever I got to do to do the job. Yeah. But when they get on their own and they're that way, it affects customer service. It affects their own money. Yeah. And then it affects their relationship with dispatch. It affects their relationship with everybody at the company. And so then they start getting these loads where they don't pay as much because it's somewhere that they don't care anymore. So it's really important to be on time. Even if I say, hey, meet me we talked, and I said, hey, meet me down there about 7:45. Well, he beat me down. And that's because I know how he is, Yeah. So it is important. Punctuality. And I got that from home too, because my dad was military, and if I said I was going to be there, if I wasn't there, it was price to pay for that. So,
Well, I found out in trucking, if you're not on time, it has what we call a domino effect.
Right.
It just goes downhill from there. If you're supposed to be there at 8, you get there at 8:30, then another truck is in your slot. Your dispatcher can't give you nothing because now he don't know what time you're going to get unloaded. And then you wind up getting unloaded at 1 o'clock. Well, he ain't got nothing right now. Well, he's got something. But they quit loading at 3, so here you're finding yourself. You get over there at 10 minutes to 3, and they say they ain't going to do it. So you've lost a night, a day's work. And I tell every trainee that I go to, every driver, even a new driver coming into our system, communicate. It was no doubt in my mind that you was going to be here this morning.
Right.
Because you didn't call and tell me that you wasn't.
Right.
And so I had no reason to think nothing else.
Yeah.
But if you didn't communicate, or if I didn't know that you was a communicator, I'd be like, man, I sure hope he comes. You know, you can't do that in trucking.
No.
I'm going to tell you something. Y'all two names are not on this, but we got a screen we can go look at. And dispatchers will make notes about you. Somebody said, well, they don't ever say nothing about me being late. They don't say nothing to you. They probably have said it to you, but you one of them guys that don't listen. But they got it marked in that computer for the weekend guys. Don't put him on nothing that has to be on time. Don't send anybody out. You don't want your name to be like that. You want a green light. I call it a green light. You want when they punch up 7727, put your driver code in. Very good driver, can do anything. Because in the long run, it's like you say, Todd, it's going to benefit you.
Right.
Now, I got my big question. He's almost been here long enough to train one day. I told him about that. I had to have one.
Yeah, you've been here almost 2 years, right?
I always ask trainees, and I'm going to tell you what I do. A lot of people like to be by themselves, especially the younger people. So what I started doing is, and I've been trying to get my safety director to go along with me because he believes in career builders. So I'm trying to tell him, well, boss, let's get them to build one career if they don't build no more. But if all the trainees that came in would train one person, it would just help the cycle so full. Me and Dale, and I'm going to bring him on in a minute when we pull these tickets, we go through, sometimes we spend an endless hour. Now, what are we doing? We're trying to find somebody that don't smoke, don't do this. But somebody like you, it's a little different. Because you're going to call me a week ahead of time and you're going to tell me this guy coming out. Right. We know what your feet is. We know what you like. It's a lot quicker. But a lot of people, we have to wait and say nothing, no offense trainers, and see do they want to take enough. I believe in taking 2 weeks, but as you told me, I'll tell you when I want to break. So I believe in that too. But it is a job to keep the trucks full with the trainees, to keep them on a truck. We turn down so many people. That's why we've got to the point, we schedule you and you don't come, we about won't rebook you. Or if you come and you're not prepared to work. And Mr. Willie Green made this tonight. I took it after him. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think of everything. But he did a little trick. He's military like you. And the first thing he asked a trainee when they would get to the truck, where's your handbook? Mm-hmm. And he said that he did his own little test. And the ones that showed up that truck without the handbook, they showed up without a lot of other things. So me and Doug and Dale and all of us, we got together, and Keith Lamaster, Chief Compliance Officer, and we said, we going to get a trainer, the authority. He don't have to enforce this, but he does have the authority. And I tell him every month, I say, now if you show up without your handbook, he can tell you he'll pick you up when he come back. Yeah. And you got your handbook. That way is to show them how important it is to have that. You got a week, you're going to be sitting over, you get to go down the interstate. Once it gets this way, there ain't no signs to watch, and you can be, but you can be reading that handbook. A handbook is, they spent millions of hours. Dale, Keith, Daniel, Ron, Eric, dispatch, everybody. And like you say, condensed it to a form that you can read it in a week easily. And I tell everybody when we hire them on Monday, please read this book. And I give a little test on it on Thursday. Because that book can put you most people don't do it, but you find out you get in a bind when you don't. When you buy something, what you do, you read the instructions. Right. If you don't, you wind up with a whole bunch of boats left over.
Since y'all did that, I haven't had one show up. I don't even have to ask them anymore. They just show up. So this is what I got, my handbook, my logbook, and they got everything in the backpack or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's.
I stress it. I stress it because really, Mr. Willie Green, and I thank God for him, he really had a good point there. I'm going to work for a company. I just got out of truck driving school. I don't know where I'm going. I need to know what's going on. I need to read this book.
Right.
This is my source of information. Like your Road Atlas. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of the Road Atlas, do you still teach from the Road Atlas? I know that GPS has just took over the world.
I don't much anymore, only because our system with the route suggestions and the fuel stops, I teach them so that you can do the job even without either one. If you can read a road sign, you can do this job. So now the ones that are in the age bracket of road atlases, which I came from, we do that. I have one. Yeah. But the ones that are younger that I would spend 6 weeks teaching map reading skills to, I'll let them use their GPS, but I tell them all, you default to what this computer says. The route that they want us to take is the route they want us to take. This is what you take, And
this is where you fuel it.
Right. This is where you fuel it. And they do all this. And sometimes I have to explain that it's not just because they want to make it hard for you. It's because they're saving money at these fuel stops. That's why they do it.
The president of the company, Mr. Trace Parker, when I was driving, we fueled at Petros, TA, and Love's. Mm-hmm. So we never really had to call as long as you was at one of them. But what Trace was telling me, they can take a trip from here to Pennsylvania, and they can map out certain places that you can buy fuel, and the savings on that fuel, they got it already calculated and figured up. Where fuel in Virginia may be. And you get to add this over. And he explained, I thought it was real nice of him to sit down and explain it to me. Yeah. You get to add 450 trucks, and all 450 of them spend 15 cents more on fuel than they had to.
Right.
And just add that over 4,000 miles. Yeah. And you see the number that you come up with. All of us guys, we've been places before. I do it all the time. When I'm driving and I know I got to buy some fuel, and I look up and I see where some is really cheap at, and I'm needing some and gonna need some, I go to get me some now.
Right.
I got to buy some anyway.
Yeah.
So you can see where it makes sense. It's not to punish the driver, but the more money the company makes, and the older you get, you'll figure this out, the more money that the company makes, the better they can pay you.
Right.
The better equipment they're going to have, the better technology. I tell people all the time, if it's in the trucking, we got it or we on the way to get it.
Yeah.
We are modern. That's just, and that's why I felt like I had to get back into it. I said, ooh, and I ain't ready to retire. I said, this thing going to pass me by if I don't. I like to wait too late. I might have to get you back on one of them corners now. You can't tell nobody to talk when you teach me a little something. I got to take some skilling from a professional. So let me ask you this. What went through your mind the first time you rolled out that gate? With Todd?
A long time ago, then.
Yeah, a long time ago. I was excited, ready to get on the road.
Well, you know what we say about you on the yard, huh?
What?
You're one of the nicest, quietest guys, but you ain't bothering nobody. When we see you,
Yes,
if you come in and get you a bottle of water, if I'm on the phone, I won't get to speak to you. You get you a bottle of water, and that come from your trainer. Yeah. You on the time, and Now, if Todd ain't going nowhere, He'll come in there and sit and talk with us. If he comes in there and sit and talk to me, the first thing I ask, where your truck at? It's down at the shop. Because if his truck is ready, what's up, Hoss? Boom. If his truck ain't ready, now he'll come in there and socialize with us. And, so let me ask you this question. You ought to remember this. How did you feel when you first went out the gate by yourself?
I was happy, ready to go, ready to work, ready to go and get to work.
So you backed up. What was your first load? Do you remember your first load?
I went to Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
You just backed in there and just, I got it, huh?
Yes,
Did you
sir.
call anybody? Your parents living?
Sir?
Are your parents still living?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you call them and tell them?
Yes, sir.
What made you go into trucking?
I like driving, seeing the world.
Okay.
Now he's getting paid to see the world.
Now you get paid. You ever tell any of your young friends about it?
Yes, sir. All the time.
What they say?
They gonna get their CDLs.
You be sure to give them my number.
He's working on his hazmat stuff.
Right.
I am too. Maybe me and you can study together. I had it one time. Oh, but that's good, man. That hazmat. That's just an extra $30 you pick. What is it, 35?
And better load, better back.
And that you pick up. And the one thing about that is, I always use Friday or Thursday as a scenario. You up somewhere, and they ain't got nothing but a hazmat, but it's 4 of y'all up there, but you the only one with the hazmat. Ding, ling, ling. They're going to give you the call, you know. You're going to get it. And so you're not making a bad decision. And you know, when CDLs first come out, I never will forget. When I heard about it, when I was young, I did a lot of reading. I read and I studied up on it. One thing I could see coming, that was going to be the way to go. People was going, CDL was going to be real important. And when I went down there, I was grandfather. I'm not ashamed to say it. I was grandfather. I took everything they had. I had hazmat, I had triples, I had passengers. I got everything they had. I like to talk trash. I want to be one where I could throw mine on the table and have everything. Now I'm working on Randall and Ricky. If I get my hazmat for them two guys, they won't be able to stand it. But I always want to be proud of what I had and what I was working with. And I remember Mr. Glenn Bullock taking me on record trips. And I saw him turn a truck over one day. I saw how he did this. And I was pulling the chain. And the whole time, I was running with that chain on my shoulder, tying it around that tree. I'm going to learn how to do what he doing, because he was the director, man. And I learned how to do that stuff, and I drove the record for several years. But it was that trip, them trips, not that trip. Them trips I went on with him when I was working on the wash rack. And they need some help, and he would take me with him. But once he saw that I was really trying to learn it, he started helping me and teaching me and showing me. He was one of the people that told him that I could drive the record.
Yeah.
Because when we go somewhere, and the house city is, but when we go somewhere, we be coming back. He said, "You want to drive some?" Well, heck, man, I'm 20 years old. You tell him I want to drive this thing with a front tire and that? Why? Heck yeah, I want to drive it. And I learned how. So it's a great profession. Especially you married.
No, sir.
Oh, especially a single man. You got no kids?
No, sir.
Ooh, man, stay like that until you get ready to settle down.
Sir.
You'll be in good shape. You get the 401k?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Okay, you been doing 4%, ain't you?
I've been doing the max.
Doing the max. That's good. That's good. That's good. Well, maybe you'll get driver of the month. Dale, we're going to ask you to come up here. 'Cause I know you got to get back. We're supposed to have some cheerleaders here today that was going to pull the driver of the month. Something happened, huh? That is the fertilizer division. Dale, you got to work with these people. You better pull some good names. Can't let y'all drivers pull it.
Michael Coco,
Michael Coco.
680.
Truck 6A. All right. You know about driving the van division?
Yes, sir.
Can't let you pull it. You know, I know you know somebody drive. Yeah, we can't let y'all pull it. One of y'all friends will come pull this thing out of here. I have to leave. This is the van division. Well, they're shaking them up, boy.
Edward McWater, 553, drive for Thomas Higgs.
TC. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Tell you a story on Edward. He was driving in the dump division, and man, Edward's wife runs with him. He runs hard. He's got a Harley. He just a real nice guy.
It's the boat division. Right?
Yeah, this is Todd division.
Uh-oh. Greg McCord, truck 4200, TJ Sneed.
Yeah, that's one of them new trucks.
Yeah.
Have you got one of those yet?
Not yet, because they didn't have the double bunch yet for the trainer, so
Oh, okay.
I'm still breaking mine in.
All right. Pull the Sharp Employee of the Month. Sharp Employee. I got it. Who we got Sharp Employee?
Let's see. Cornelius Hall.
Cornelius Hall. Well, Cornelius get to put his own name up this time. He puts all the names up when we win. Thank you, Dale.
Huh? You what?
Oh, that's it. Dale, you got anything you want to say, Todd, while you up here?
Man, thank you for the job, you do.
Appreciate what you did.
Training and otherwise.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
thank you, too.
Thank you.
You know, and I tell all my trainers, we got some good ones, but thank you. Stephen Sanders, the owner of our company, he's always said you can't pay them enough for the things they do, the risks they take of training people. People don't understand this, and sometimes the trainee don't understand it. And that's why I started a program by the week of, as soon as I know, quick as I know, I get them two guys to exchange numbers. And I've had to work both ways. I've had them to start talking, and they hit it off. And I've had them to start talking, and the trainer come back and tell them, so, man, me and this guy ain't going. Because you can tell by just talking to a person and just seeing, or y'all going to be able to get it. I got a trainer, his name is Osman. I'm scared to say where he's from. I think it's Australia because he goes home every so often. But he was helping me with the kind of people that he could work with. That's all he does. He's like you. He loves to train. But he has to have a certain fit. It has to be somebody that wants to stay out,
Yeah.
you know, and don't mind just running and making the money. Because he don't really just have a home. He's got a little place down in Florida. But he'll take a trainee and he'll run 6 weeks with him. And then he'll go to Florida and go where his parents are still out of the country. He'll go out of the country and see his parents. He may do 3 trainees in a row.
Yeah.
And then go see his parents. So it's all different fits for everybody. And I'm not trying to get you just to be a trainer full time. But check it out one day. Train somebody. Train one of your friends.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, train one of your friends. Tell them to call us. I'm going to Wilcox County. I think I'm going. No, I'm going to Selma Wednesday. Going to Wilcox next week. But there are so many places that's getting a CDL program.
What CDL school did you go to?
Oh, the one in Ozark?
Ozark.
Okay. Yeah, you come down there with Ricky Free. That's where he goes to school at. Yeah. Well, there's so many schools. Learning B. Wallace, they're just branching up everywhere. And I'm going to tell you why. Everybody's not going to be a doctor. Everybody's not going to be a lawyer. But they're seeing COVID. And I like to think something good out of COVID. Badly, sadly to say, but COVID was the best thing that ever happened to the truck driver. Even though it was bad on one end, but on the other end, it made people respect what a truck driver does. When they was worried about their toilet paper, when they was worried about their water, when they was worried about their soap, their cereal, stuff like that they know. Trucking moves this country. And these colleges are getting into it. And these guys can come out and make some good money. They come out and make some good money, and I try to jump right on. Now, it ain't for everybody. but I like it. I like a school, to be honest. When I go to a class, I don't go there to get everybody. I go there to get everybody that want to drive a truck. Because I stand right there and tell them, this ain't for everybody. Can you be away from home? Can you do this? Can you do that? You know, because some people just get homesick. I had a guy, still talk to him today. I went to the school right up there in Trenton Tech. He wanted to drive, you know, and he called me wanting to drive. And I forgot who, I think might have been Robert. But I put him with somebody. And he went out the first week. He come and told me, he said, man, I don't know about this. He said, I don't like being gone. I knew then it was going to happen. That second week, just as nice as it could be, he said, I can't do this. You know, everybody, you got to have that. You got to adapt to that.
Yeah.
Now, I love it. I loved it. I love being gone, and especially with the bug division. To me, the best division we got. You know where you're going, but you always know where you're going when you get there. When I drove the record, I always know. It don't matter how far the trip was, it was 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles. When I got there, I was going to be coming back to Troy. Yeah. And I had a system. I don't care if I got there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Most of the time, I dropped and hooked and started home. If I didn't do but an hour, because I like this thing, I'm always going to be going back home. As the years went on, I got, well, that didn't make no sense. I'd go up there and drop a hook, get me a good night's sleep. And I will tell you this, and I know Todd has stressed it to you. Rest.
Yes, sir.
Keep your rest. Keep your rest. Fatigue driving is a bad thing.
Yes, sir.
We were talking this morning about his trip today, and I asked him from here, you know, how far he would go typically, because he runs his load often. And he was telling me, and I said, you know, I told him, I said, when I first started, you know, I'd run about 100 some miles farther than where he's going to go on the same trip. I said, but 10 years ago, that didn't bother me so much. But as I got older, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to push myself that hard on the first day and then be tired all week, you know, because you got to work all week. So he does right by pacing himself, being efficient, getting as far as he needs to get to make his week work money-wise. But again, getting plenty of rest and eating the right foods. And that's a big one, too, that a lot of people don't talk about is eating the right food.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but
it can be done.
It can be done.
Do you have a refrigerator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How far will you go today? I'm curious now. You going to Lime Station, Pennsylvania. How far will you go today?
Fort Chiswell, Virginia.
Fort Chiswell, Virginia. How many hours is that?
About 9.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how many more hours is it on up Lime Station?
When I get up the next morning, it'll be like 4 hours out the drive.
Okay. So you get up early? Will you get up early?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And coming back, how you do it?
Run my whole clock.
What is it about coming home? Yeah. You're on your own clock coming home.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you something. The clock is that modern. Like I said, I've been doing it this weekend. They just sits up there and tell you how much time you got left. I'm supposed to be going to Wilcox County next week. They're having a job fair over there. And we may not get no drivers out. I don't think none of them will be 21. But yet still, they want to see a truck. And sometimes you have to give a little. Just, you know, maybe be some daddies and some uncles over there, what I'm looking at. But anyway, and I was thinking about that. I said, now, if I take this truck over there, they're going to want me to go get some freight, make a little money with it. I was like, well, what if I get over to this school and stay too long? And it's got me counting my hours. I was like, I get back for 11 hours. So somebody had to come get me.
Oh, man, I help you with the clock.
Yeah, help me with my clock. But let me tell you something. One of the things I stress to everybody, I don't have to stress it to Todd, he's a veteran, but to the young guys, man, please do your clock right. I work over there in safety, and I see the stuff that Doug and Daniel has to deal with. You see them on TV. Call me, Alabama, the metallic beast. Man, it's lawyers, and that's all they do. They got a scanner sitting. I'm serious. They got a scanner sitting on their desk. When they hear a wreck with a big truck in it, they be on the scene. So keep your paperwork together, keep your system clear. Make sure if you go to the doctor, he give you some medicine, tell him your profession. And he'll tell you whether you can take it or not. He should know. If he's not sure, then you call Keith LeMasters and make sure. There's nothing like taking care of your own self. Don't just assume. If you ask the doctor, say, hey, I drive a truck, will this affect my drug test, or will it affect me sleepiness or what? First of all, if he don't really know, you maybe need another doctor because he should know.
Right.
And then let safety know and let him know. If he don't know, ask. And I believe some of these people. I know some people be lying, but I believe some of these people. A good friend of mine years ago, I heard his ankle playing ball on a Saturday. His wife had a toothache, and she had some Tylenol, prescription Tylenol, and he took 2 of them. When he came to work that Monday, he was drug tested. And he told him what it was. It still didn't matter. He didn't have a prescription for it. So don't take nobody else's medicine. Just don't do that. If you're hurting that bad, go to the emergency room. Make sure if you take it, you got a prescription for it. Because it could be a simple mistake, an honest mistake, girlfriend or something, say, well, I had a toothache, I got this. Don't take nobody else's medicine. Don't do it. I don't care how bad you're hurting or whatever. Just don't do nothing. And I want you to always be the wildest sounds first. Let me say that. But if you keep your CDL, no drugs, no speeding tickets, no accident, you can get a job anywhere in this world that needs a CDL drive. I tell people that all the time. I don't want nobody to think that they made a bad decision of getting a CDL. Talk or walk out this door right now with the experience he got. He could be in somebody's orientation for the end of this week. Yeah. It happens. So just take care of that. But I guarantee you, he know what to do and what not to do. Speeding tickets, 15 mile an hour. I know you say, well, my truck won't go 15 miles. Yeah, well, you come off one of them big hills and you let it rip. You get on 15 mile an hour ticket. It's rough, man. A handheld device. You saw me, Sarah, and I had my little headset on. A handheld device is just like a 15 mile an hour ticket.
Reckless driving.
Yeah, it's serious now, man. It's serious. So be careful. Enjoy your CDL.
Yes, sir.
Make you plenty of money. Save that money.
Phone Cradle cost you $30 and save your CDL.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something. You're 23. You stay in that 401k and you doing the match like you doing in 10 years, you have $100,000.
Yeah. You do it right, you'll have more than that.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm just giving them a.
You're right.
You have $100,000.
Because I've been in it for 10 years.
How long you been in there?
10 years.
10 years. And when you get my age, then you need a little bit of, you can call them up. And they'll send you something. Won't penalize you now. When you're young like you don't even touch it. Don't touch it.
Leave it alone.
But I tell people ask me all the time when I'm going to retire. For years we didn't have a match. We just started doing that match about 5 years ago. Well, I was young once like you, and I screwed up a bunch of money. I had to go into mine at one time when I was a teenager. Well, I said teenager, when I was a young man. But anyway, I said, well, I'll never get back where I was. Well, boy, when they started that 4% match, I tell everybody, and I tell people this. I tell this story everywhere I go because I thought it was so interesting. It was a bank, and they had a meeting with all the bankers' supervisors. Just had a meeting with them. Listen to me carefully. And so the guy was talking about the benefits, and he said, guys, we've got some people that are not in our 401k, and we're matching it. See what the problem is. See, is these people going to leave or what? Just wanted to know. And so after the meeting, one of the guys told the bankers, told the boss, one of the bankers who had people under him, he says, that one of my guys that are not doing the match? And the boss looked over and said, no, it's not none of your people. He said, why you ask? He said, well, I just want to make sure I didn't have nobody that stupid working for me. He was going to go get all his employees. I mean, you're throwing away money, and I see a lot of people that do it.
Yeah.
And I campaign for it, and I tell them, I said, man, I don't get paid nothing for doing this. I said, I'm just, this will help you. And then if you do get in a tight, you do know, it'll help you when you get ready to get a house.
Yeah.
They want to know all that. Todd, I tell you, they want to know all that.
I went to ask one time was I was going to buy a rental property, and they have certain rules about it. So, but if you ever need that, just go down to insurance and they'll explain what you can and can't do and what the penalties are and all that. But you know, yeah, you're right. I mean, I didn't sign up for it when I first started because they didn't match. And so I thought, I'll wait. And then and they didn't match in longer than 5. It's been about 8 because I've been,
Is it? Okay.
doing it.
I was just trying to figure.
Yeah. And, but it didn't take long. And I've changed mine a couple of times because I kind of watch the market, you know, but it grows like a weed when you leave it alone and just don't look at it. And, it grows fast.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling you, as a young person, I've been doing it for 8 years, and I got over $100,000 in mine. 8 years.
Yeah.
But
And he steps.
yeah, but
He steps. He keeps.
but you know, yeah, you gotta. And it's not that I put the maximum amount. Like, you know, so I know a guy right now, Wiley. He's my age, but he started about 3 or 4 years ago, and he puts about 20% or so, whatever the maximum they'll let him put in plus the match. But he just does it because of his age, and he wants to get as much as he can.
Yeah.
So at your age, you got a lot of years ahead of you. A lot of years. So.
I said my last 3 years that I was going to do the match, but you know what? I don't know. It's just what are you planning to do? And I'm saying this as a bragging on the job. I've had a good job for a long time. I ain't got nowhere that I want to go. I'm serious. If I never left Pike County again, other than go to Bike Week, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been all over this world, and I was fortunate to the late great Wallace Sanders. I got a chance to do a lot of work for him, and I got to go to a lot of people. Now, guilt gets me sometimes. When me and my wife will be talking, and I'll be talking about something, and I try not to talk about them, because usually if I keep talking to her about a place, I'll take her to it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've been to California, I've been to the Bahamas, and most of the places that I went, I got paid for. There's very few places that I went that I have not got paid for. And so when I look at that, and I look at the older you get, the less money you need.
Right.
Todd will tell you that. Because you get where a sandwich to you is just as good. I think, when was it? Friday night, me and my wife ate fish sticks. I mean, we didn't want to go nowhere. We just sit there, and she said, what you want? I said, I don't know. She said, well, I got some fish, blah, blah. I said, fix me a fish stick. Yeah. And Saturday when we left, we carried our lunch because I wanted to get home to watch the Alabama game. So the older you get, the less you'll spend. But I'm going to tell you something.
How long have you been at Wallace Sanders? I've never asked.
All my life. I come to Wallace Sanders to work a summer job. About 30-something years ago. I was going to work for the summer. My mom didn't have a house in Pensacola. And I wanted to be one of them Florida boys. Well, I was young and wild, supposed to be going to PJC college. And we wasn't going to class. Being one of my first cousins, we was just partying. My mom and them came home one weekend. The house wasn't quite like it was supposed to be long. Then them old folks, they didn't ask you no question. They go upside your head. They put everybody out that house like to beat me and him to death. And my mom just, that Sunday morning, she just cleaned up. She said, you going back home? They cleaned the house up and put us out. Told us we was going to go to school or go to work. And she had a friend that worked at Wallace Sanders, and she said, get him a job. Don't give him no cake job. Saying he'll get his head straight. Well, the opposite thing happened. I went out there and I started working. Now, at first, the first couple of weeks when I was hauling that trash, throwing away them oil filters, I did realize I got to do something different from this.
Yeah.
And I saw the guys on the wash rack look like they kind of had it made. So I would always come to work, had a work ethic, because I was living at home with my mama. And she had my work schedule. So I don't care how late I stayed up Friday night, she made me go to work. Well, it was an advantage to that. I went to work one Saturday, and nobody showed up on the wash rack except me and the supervisor. And me and him was washing. We'd wash them and we'd pull them out. And I just riding with him, because I couldn't pull the other one up to wash. And so Willie Kelly, his name, he's dead and gone now. And I rode with him to the red line. I was looking at all them gauges. So I said, Mr. Willie, teach me how to drive this. He said, well, I'm going to try to get you over here with me. And if you get your side washed, I'll teach you. So that Monday when I came to work and I got my little old bucket that I was picking up trash with, he begged for me. I knew I was in there, boy. I knew I was in there. I set that bucket out. I shot over there. I was on the wash rack. And, it sounded like a joke, but to me, that was just like a great move up. I just went from this trash truck to the wash rack. Yeah. And then about 2 weeks later, Mr. Kelly taught me how to pull the trucks up on the ready line. Boy, I stood up there. I said, man, I got it made, Then I was always observant. Then a couple more weeks, I saw these hookup guys that would just come in on the weekends. Stinson Paul. I'm bringing up all kind of memories. People probably say, golly, how's no Oh man, Stinson Paul's sons would come in on Saturdays and hook the trucks up that was going out the way. Well, those guys wore blue jeans and shirt. I thought, I can trade these rubber boots in. I can be a hookup man. So I asked them about it. They taught me how to do that. I was in the cotton then. I said, I'm going to drive one of these trucks. I met a guy named Bert Brown. Bert was the record driver. And by then, Mr. Glenn Bullard, he was doing some record reports too. And he would get me and I would go with them. Well, when I was off, I would go with Bert. And everybody would laugh at me. Man, you just ride around and do you ain't getting paid. I said, I'm going to get that job one day. They ain't going to give you that. I said, still. And I just kept working. The moral of this story is don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. And I learned how to do it. And when it came open, I got it. And I tell people this all the time. You got to remember this. Now, we got to get out of here. Yeah. But the best decision I ever made in life was working. Now, I'm going to say for my wife was that, baby, it was you. But working, the best decision I ever made. Mr. Wallace Sanders bought a motorhome. And he asked Jimmy Golan who would be a good man to drive it. And Jimmy said, oh, Hoss would. He's dependable. That's what I tell you about being dependable. Even when I drank, I may be hungover, but I ain't lay out of work. And Jimmy called me and told me, and they want me to fly. Oh, country boy from, over in the woods. I don't know nothing about no airplane. I ain't getting on no airplane. And so I just said, no, I don't want no parts of that. I hung up the phone. Well, a few minutes later, my phone rang again. I was young and wild one time, too. I said, yo, I never will forget it. And he said, I fly one of the safest planes in the world. I never met the man, but I had heard how he talked and how subtle it was. And all I was thinking, this is Wallace Sanders. I was like, oh my God. He said, he can actually land on one engine. I said, yes, sir. He said, if you do this, everything he said, I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he told me one time, I never said nothing in the whole conversation, but yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because my home training was always be respect. I was, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so when we hung up, he told Jimmy, he said, I know one thing. That boy sure is manifold because he didn't say that. So when Jimmy called me back laughing, his phone rang. I'm still thinking this one. I said, hello? He said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. In my first airplane trip, I was scared to death, but I always believed in the Lord. When I got on the airplane, I was sitting like this, and I was praying. And I nodded off to sleep because I didn't sleep good that night because I don't know I'm going to meet this man and drive this bus. And one of the pilots come walking back there. And I looked up and saw him. I said, oh, Lord, we crashed. I said, oh, Lord, we crashed. And it went from there. It went from there. I got where he depended on me. And if he told me to be somewhere, I was always there. I'm going to tell you what dependability will do for you. One morning, I was supposed to leave about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I got up and I went out to the house and I got ready to get on the motorhome. And they had a pajama party, and it was girls, and it was people all over, and I didn't know what to do. Country boy, I just shut the door. But the smartest thing I did, I set my bag at the door, because we was going on an overnight trip. I set my bag at the door, and I shut the door. And I went back to the car, and I was trying to think what to do. Well, I nodded off. When I woke up, it was daylight, and everybody had been looking for me, and I saw my phone. It was Terry. He said, boy, you're in trouble now, and everything. When I went across there, I said, I saw him and he pulled up. When by then, I had been doing work for him. I said, Mr. Wiley, I've been here since 3 o'clock. My bag is on the bus. But he told them that morning when they was looking for me, he said, if Jeff said he'll be here, y'all backtrack from my house to his house. He could have had an accident. The man had enough confidence in me to know that if I had told him I was going to be there, something happened. Be that way. That's my best advice I can give you. Whatever you say you're going to do it. And people will learn that. And if something happens, they'll be like, no, he didn't do that. He said he was going to be. Do what you say you're going to do. Whatever you say you're going to do it. And do your best ability. Glad to have you guys. You almost made me cry. I got to think about my life story. All right, we got to get out here. Todd, thank you. You know it's always open date for you. You the same way. I'm waiting on that first training you put out. Until next week, this has been Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Line. See you in the sleeper. That's a new commercial. We'll sleep. I say.
Last night, girl.
What a dream.
I dreamed I was driving a truck.
Like that?
Yes, like that.
That's not a dream. That's driving a truck from Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
That's right. That's driving a truck. The company that makes dreams come true. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come by for the best today.
Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama.
Girls, that is what I want right there.
We can.
Why?
Because we grow like Wiley Sanders Truck Line.
You're right. We've been growing since 1959, and we ain't going nowhere. Blue Cross Blue Shield, hey, we got a $1,000 sign-on bonus. We can get you home, Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Come join us today, right there in Troy, Alabama, Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Drivers, I have 3 questions. 1, in 2024, did you make good money? Did you get home like you like? Did your company treat you like family? If you have answered no to these questions, let me ask you this. Why not try a company that does all that? Why not try Wiley Sanders Truck Lines? That's right, Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Been in business since 1959. Come join a family today that treats you. Have you ever dreamed of working for a trucking company that had Blue Cross, Blue Shield, had 401k with a 4% match? If so, then you ought to call Wiley Sanders Truck Line, the trucking company that makes dreams come true.
The TruckSmart app has even more ways to make life on the road stress-free. As always, Ultra One members earn points, gears, and Ultra credits whenever they fuel up at a TA, Petro, or TA.